Hello and welcome to another video. My name is Boxiest, and today we are going to continue the What If series. What if events had gone differently? And in this What If, we're going to change the history of Cobra Kai. What if Daniel won the fight between him and Johnny during the events of Cobra Kai Season 4? So in this timeline, Johnny and Daniel would still team up, and they would train their students for the All Valley. In the early half of Season 4, would stay the same. Kreese would still get Terry Silver. Terry and Kreese would still confront Johnny and Daniel. Daniel would be surprised to see Terry Silver after all these years. Daniel would remember everything Terry Silver did to him, and he would still be afraid. And Daniel would tell Johnny about the events of Karate Kid 3. Johnny would understand. Daniel would still want to take over the students' training. He would only want to train using Miyagi-Do. He would say that since Miyagi-Do had beaten Cobra Kai in the past, it would work again. Johnny would be against this, so Johnny and Daniel would still agree to fight to determine which style would win. And the night of the fight, Johnny would want to reconsider this. He would tell Daniel that maybe there was a different way, but Daniel wouldn't back off. He would say that Miyagi-Do was the only way, so the fight would carry on. Daniel and Johnny would still fight. Daniel would still get the first point. The score would be 1-0. Johnny would still come in, and he would get the second point, and the score would be 1-1. Daniel would still get the second point, and the score would be 2-1. Daniel would realize that this was his chance of winning, so he would use the pressure point technique against Johnny, and in this timeline, Johnny wouldn't have a defense towards the technique, so Daniel would get the third point against Johnny, so Daniel would beat Johnny in this timeline. Some of the Miyagi-Do students would cheer. Sam would be disappointed. Miguel would be a little relieved hearing that he didn't have to quit Miyagi-Do, and Johnny would be disappointed, but he would accept defeat. This is when Eli would show up at Miyagi-Do, and everyone would be surprised to see him that way. And in this timeline, Johnny and Daniel wouldn't split up. Johnny and Daniel would comfort Eli, and Daniel would say that their new training would start tomorrow, and the next day, both Eagle Fang and Miyagi-Do would only train in defense. Miguel would get more one-on-one training with Daniel, and Johnny would start learning some more Miyagi-Do defense. Daniel would even teach him the pressure point technique. Dimitri would still convince Eli to come back to Miyagi-Do, so Eli would still join Miyagi-Do in this timeline. Daniel would train his students to use weapons. Sam would want to ask Johnny to teach her some offense, but Johnny would say that Daniel won, and that they were only training in Miyagi-Do, so Sam wouldn't learn offense in this timeline, and there wouldn't be much conflict within Miyagi-Do. And the day of the prom, Daniel and Johnny would confront Kreese and Terry, but they wouldn't fight, and that night would be uneventful. The night of the tournament, the students would be fighting representing Miyagi-Do. Johnny would be a little upset, and the students of Miyagi-Do would advance in their matches, but the Cobra Kai students would fight using both methods, and they would eliminate the majority of the students. Daniel would realize that Cobra Kai had Miyagi-Do, so he wouldn't know what to do. Johnny and Daniel would start arguing, and Johnny would say that they should have trained in both methods. Johnny would tell Eli and Miguel to fight offensively, so they would use both Eagle Fang and Miyagi-Do. Daniel would be upset, but he would have no other choice, and Sam would still fight Piper in this timeline, but Sam would only know defense. The score would be 2-2, and she would barely beat Piper in this timeline. Eli would still get his confidence, and it would still be Eli and Miguel during the boys semifinals, and Miguel would defeat Eli in this timeline, so it would be Miguel and Robbie in the finals. They would both use a style of offense and defense. It would still be a close match, but Robbie would use his anger against him, and he would use the Quicksilver method against Miguel, so Robbie would beat Miguel in this timeline. And during the girls' finals, Sam would fight Tori. Tori would use a style of both Cobra Kai and Miyagi-Do, but Sam would only know Miyagi-Do. Tori would defeat Sam without cheating. Cobra Kai would win overall, and the season would still end the same way. Terry would still betray Kreese, and Daniel would still get chosen, but Miguel wouldn't run away. And that is where I'm going to end this What If. Thank you guys for watching. What do you guys think would have happened if Daniel won the fight between him and Johnny during the events of Cobra Kai Season 4? Let me know in the comments below. All members have access to emojis that can be used in comments and live streams. This isn't mandatory. This is only something extra. If you want to support the channel even more, YouTube lets me know that the majority of you are not subscribed, so if you guys could subscribe, that would be much appreciated. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like this video, subscribe, and turn on post notifications, and I'll see you guys next time.